Man, it has been a rough year for DC Comics in 2022, and it's only January 4th. I wasn't going to do a video talking about them today. I hadn't planned on it, but they just had a raking over the coals over the weekend, and I thought that, if anything, we should kind of discuss some of this stuff and see if we can't digest it and put it into context. Where to begin? Let's start with the Flashpoint movie. So there was a big leak on New Year's Day, and the leak basically claims, and this is according to Forbes, that the Flashpoint movie will erase previously established DC, the DC Snyderverse, any other movie continuity, and it's going to be replaced by a new world with a new Justice League. And in this new world, there is no Superman. Batman is kind of relegated to the sidelines as kind of a Nick Fury character, so just kind of guiding everything from the background. And the Justice League is going to consist of Supergirl, Batwoman, Flash, and Mera from the Aquaman movies. And a lot of fans are, I think, understandably frustrated by this news. And this comes from a leaker who has, been pretty accurate with things in the past. So that's an interesting idea. Now, I don't hate Supergirl or Batgirl as characters, but I'm not a fan of them in lieu of Superman and Batman. And I think, while the idea of having Bruce Wayne as kind of this behind-the-scenes puppet master type character is interesting, I think for the most part, most DC fans would agree that they would rather see just him suiting up as Batman and doing Batman things along with the rest of the league. And especially with Henry Cavill expressing that he would really like to continue to play Superman in the DCU, I don't understand why that would bench the character in lieu of Supergirl. So I think this is an odd move. I know that there's been a little bit of damage control. Some of the fans of Flash, or the cast of the Flash movie out there, rather, are kind of going out, but their damage control seems to consist of it's not as bad as you think, which is never a great strategy. I've really am worried. I am worried for the DCEU. I think this is a really poor direction, and I think it's a missed opportunity, especially since, one, the Snyderverse was such a big hit last year, or the Snyder Cut, rather, of the Justice League movie. And with the Marvel movies, not being as stellar as they have been in the past, this was an opportunity for Warner Brothers and DC to maybe capitalize on a market that was getting, seeing its big dog maybe starting to slow down a little bit, and you could have replaced it with something fans really liked. And I think they're taking every wrong decision for whatever wrong reason. And here's what we're left with. We're left with this kind of weird sidekick-driven Justice League and this new DCEU that's going to be forged out of Flashpoint. Now, for those of us who are fans of the comics, we know that what Flashpoint does is it erases the world and restarts it. That's what it did in the comics. That's what it did in the DC animated movie universe. And that's what it would make sense that that's what it's going to do in the movie. And I don't necessarily think that I'm generally opposed to that idea, but when Flashpoint erased the world in the comics, everybody was still there. They just kind of got new costumes and new status quo. So erasing the world and then just, ditching your three best characters is not a great idea, but this is the direction they're going. So that's what we're left with. And then we got the other way more disturbing revelation that came out over the weekend, which was this Superman story here, where he was in a POW camp and by all accounts was assaulted by the prison guards for 8 months while he was in this camp. This is a terrible story. I mean, what is DC doing here? I really don't understand. I really don't understand the thinking behind this. And here's where I'm going to go with this. So I kind of had the same take when I read the X-Men Green comic, which was, it was a terrible story. It was an awful idea. Obviously the writer who would come up with X-Men Green, and obviously the writer who would come up with this storyline, is very disturbed and has issues. But where is the editorial staff on this? Now, for DC, at least there's a bit of an excuse. If you remember, a couple of years ago, they liquidated their editorial staff. I mean, they got rid of everybody. And so you basically have people without any experience running DC Comics and making the decisions. And I think that this might just be a product of that. This is the product of an editor who doesn't have the wherewithal and the experience to know that this would not fly well, and this one needed to go back to the drawing board. So if you read this, I actually put the page up here for everyone to see. If you read it, it never actually, says what happens to him, but it basically says every day they would put me in the interview room, quote unquote. Every day they would restrain me in a way that left me exposed and vulnerable. And every day for 8 months, they did things to me. They did things to me while I was forced to look at him, i.e. a general he was interviewing in the storyline. So they don't actually go ahead out and say it, but the writer knows what he's doing here. He wrote it in a way that's where it leads, especially when you've got the way the artwork is here. And just imagine, this was my other take from this. Imagine everyone who draws comics kind of had that dream of doing it when they were younger. I would think that's how I was. That's how I think a lot of people that work in comics were. And so as a kid, your dream was to someday go and work for Marvel or DC and use your artistic ability to bring these characters to life. And you finally make it. You're a professional comic book artist. And the script you get handed to you is, we want you to go ahead and draw Superman getting raped in prison. What way to fulfill your childhood dreams of being a comic book artist? This is definitely how I thought my career would go, would be what I would be thinking. But anyway, so this leaves me to the question that I kind of asked before, which is DC Comics just circling the drain at this point? I did a video last year saying that I think it's time we just kind of let DC go peacefully into that night, or into the long night, and bid a fond farewell. I don't know of any great offerings that they have left. I brought up their website here just because I was looking at what comics were coming out, this week as of this recording, actually today, and looking at it, we got Arkham book, Batman, James Tynion's just left, so this new run is just getting started, so I can't really judge it. Crush and Lobo, I don't dig Lobo as a father figure mentor. Arkham Knights of Steel, this is Omniverse stuff. Batman Detective Comics, here we go again. This is a Batman book without Batman. We've got Batgirl, Batwoman, spoiler, Cassandra Cain, and looks like Nightwing's down there at the bottom corner, looking a little confused. Harley Quinn, the Eat, Bang, Kill tour, which is a comic based on the animated series. Justice League Incarnate, another Justice League without Kal-El, Clark Kent, Superman in it. Justice League Infinity, never heard of this book. One Star Squadron, another one that I don't really know. I see Red Tornado's involved. Okay. The Suicide Squad, we know them. Superman, another Superman book without Clark Kent, Kal-El in it. And if you're a fan of this channel, you know my thoughts on Jonathan Kent. Teen Titans Academy, World of Krypton, another Superman-focused book without Clark Kent. So there we go. It's a hard time to be a fan of Superman right now, it seems like. And I should clarify, I always feel like I don't like John Kent. He's a horribly written character and has nothing to do with the fact that they outed him as bisexual. I just think he's an awful character. So, there we go. That's DC in a nutshell right now. I kind of stick by my original theory of I think it's time to let DC go gracefully into that long night. But what do you guys think? What do you think of the Flashpoint movie? Do you think that's still something you're looking forward to? Is it something are you at least going to give it a chance? What about that awful Superman storyline? Now, that Superman story has actually been out for a few months, but for some reason, probably because like other DC books didn't sell well, and so it just got traction recently. But what do you guys think of that? Superman as a survivor of sexual assault. I think that's weird. I think it's an odd turn for the character, but that's just me. Let's talk about it in the comments below. While you're down there, please hit like, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. I'd love to have you as a subscriber, and I'll be back probably later this week with more rants and hopefully some reviews on some comics once I get to actually sit and read some this week. And hope you guys have a good one.